Okay, so Dr. Kohli, with Omicron still surging around most of the country, a lot of people are turning to those at-home COVID tests. We actually have one right here. Of course, they want to make sure that if they have sniffles or a sore throat, that they don't have COVID and perhaps it's just a cold. We've all been there. We've all had to go through that. So we're going to do a little demo here today. We want your expertise. So Jeff, you're going to take the test. Jeff, you've probably taken like 3 dozen considering when you were on the movie. Like how many have you taken?
I've taken a lot. The good news is they don't go as deep anymore.
Oh.
You don't have to go up to here.
Oh, I go way up.
Hey, to each their own.
Okay, so
guys, we should talk about this. Yeah, and I just got my COVID at-home test in the mail yesterday from President Biden. So I'm very excited that we are talking about the right way to do this. So Jeff is actually right, Sam. They don't go as deep. But one of the biggest mistakes people make is they don't put it deep enough. So Jeff, let's go at it. I'm going to talk you through it, and I want to see how it goes. So
he's cleaning his hands.
Sanitize your hands.
Yeah,
there we go.
I love that. Yes.
All right.
So that any other virus you have, usually what I also do, guys, and we're just going to assume this right now, is wipe down the table because we're going to open everything up on that table. So I usually like to wipe that down too before I get started.
But
You're Jeff,
right.
the first thing you're going to do is
before this.
We're gonna pretend we wiped down the table.
No, we did. We did.
Yeah.
Okay. Nope. So no, you opened that too early, Jeff. That's the last thing you want to open. So the first thing you want to do is actually open your test cassette and have that sitting on the table ready for you to go. Now that you've opened that, don't put it down.
Okay.
Nope. Now you just got to hold it. But you want to set yourself up. So I usually get my phone as a stopwatch and I put it next to me.
I'll do it for Jeff.
I get the test cassette open. Thank you, Sam. And I get the little vial ready to go with the top off so that everything is really ready to go and I'm not handling anything too much after I've collected the sample. So go ahead and open all that stuff up without putting that Q-tip down.
Okay.
Don't contaminate,
Good. So
Jeff.
I'm a multitasker. Like when I brush my teeth, I like to do something else.
Me too.
You know what I mean?
Me too.
So this is on par for me.
Okay.
All right.
But that's how you guys get gum recession. Because if you do something else while brushing your teeth, you'll brush too hard.
I do have gum recession.
And then you end up getting gum recession.
Do you have gum recession?
Apparently I'm doing everything wrong. So everything's open.
Okay, now you're ready, Jeff. Okay, so now you want to start, doesn't matter which side, and you want to put it in at least 3/4 of an inch. So you want essentially the entire cotton tip to be inside. Start your stopwatch because you want it there for a full 15 seconds.
I got it.
And I like how you're making nice swirls. And it doesn't matter if you go clockwise or counterclockwise.
This is great.
You just want to make sure you contact all the sides of the
exactly
nose
what I didn't
inside.
want.
You're not on
Okay,
I'm
don't,
good.
don't
All right, let's
talk.
go. It's been 15. Let's move this along.
Okay.
That's the point.
Jeez.
Okay, that's exactly the point. We don't know how long 15 is, and you really want to get a good sample. Don't talk or laugh like Jeff is doing while you're collecting the sample.
Jeff,
You
it's
got
not,
it, Sam.
no.
You keep him honest.
I have the timer.
seconds.
You
Honest.
have 2, 1, and there you go.
All right.
Good job, buddy.
Perfect.
Okay.
Now you put it in, and now you turn it, you swirl it. And what you're doing now, Jeff, is actually getting all those virus particles and the mucus off your swab into the reagents to try to mix them. So you want to twist it at least 5 times.
Right.
Then when you're taking out the cotton swab,
squeeze it.
You want to squeeze it on the way out. Exactly. So that you're getting off all of the secretions from your nose into those reagents.
Okay.
Really helping to open that up. Good.
Okay.
Now you can throw away the Q-tip because you're done with that.
Right.
You wanna put the cap on, and then you want to flick it to try to mix the reagents with the virus.
Give it a flick.
Oh,
I'm gonna flick it up.
Flick it. There you go.
Okay. Get out all your aggressions on this thing. Okay.
It's kind of fun. Like I'm like a little scientist.
Right. Yes, a little chem experiment, if you will.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay, so now you flicked it. You got a good mixing. Now you want to turn it over into your cassette and put 3 drops into the little introducer in the cassette. And you want to make sure that it gets nice and wet. Because if you don't make it wet enough and get those drops in, you are not going to get development. Your control line might come out real thin. So let's see how many drops. You counting them?
1, 2, 3. I kind of feel like I'm on Breaking Bad. All right.
Okay. So now you set a timer on your stopwatch for 10 minutes because you want to read it at exactly the right time, not too early. Sam's got your back on this. Everyone should have a Sam when they're doing this test.
Yeah, that's what we need.
So now we read it in 10 minutes.
Okay. Imagine if a little Sam popped out of your COVID test.
You don't want it. Trust me, you don't want a little Sam on your shoulder. She never stops talking.
All right, so we're good. We just got to leave it now, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so let's get to some questions.
Now we leave it. Yep.
Okay.
All right, Dr. Kohli, while we're waiting on Jeff's test, when is the appropriate time to do this test? Is it when you have symptoms, when you're visiting like older relatives, when you're live on television? When's the most appropriate time?
Don't do it while you're brushing your teeth, Jeff. That's not a multitasking. So the best time to do this, guys, is really when you have symptoms. That's the best performance of the test, because by the time you have symptoms, the likelihood of you having enough virus around to trigger the test is much higher. Now, you can use it for asymptomatic screening, like if you're going to see a friend or going to see grandma or something like that. But just keep in mind that the chance of getting a false negative is higher when you use it in that way, because you don't even have symptoms, you may not have enough virus around, and the test may come out negative and you may be falsely misled. So I like to use these tests not just once, but in a serial fashion. So do them over and over again, because the likelihood of getting negative tests multiple days in a row is actually very low.
Before you ask her a question, while you were doing your test, Stephanie Segal, one of our viewers, writes, "This is riveting."
I'm sure there's a couple screen grabs as well. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, Doc, we get a lot of viewer questions for you specifically, and we wanted to get your take on this email from Michelle. So she writes, "Can we talk about the health of children under the age of 5? Very poignant to myself as well. When will they be able to get vaccinated? I need to work, but I'm concerned about the health of my 2-year-old."
Oh my gosh, that's exactly what I'm feeling right now.
You guys, I'm feeling it too, because I have a nephew who's 4 years old, and this is the last group left that is not eligible for vaccinations are kids under 5. So it's been a little bit of disappointment to me that we haven't moved more quickly for this age group. But the good news here is that it's coming. So they're currently doing vaccine trials. The 2-dose trial failed in this population, and that's really what's caused the delay. So now they're setting a 3-dose trial, 3 microgram dose, given 3 times in this population. And we're really hopeful that this is going to come out positive. Dr. Fauci said just a few days ago it might be as early as a month, but definitely by the summer we should have Pfizer submitting some authorization data to the FDA.
So, Dr. Kohli, some people are getting COVID twice. So what does that mean in terms of like the variant? Is it a different variant? What are the risk factors involved in that?
So you guys, this is a cold virus. We can certainly get it twice. We can get it 3, 4, even 5 times. Wow. So we have to be careful. Now, getting 2 different variants, like some of my friends who are frontline workers, they got the original variant and then they recently got Omicron. Those can manifest as very different clinical illnesses because the variants are almost like different viruses. Even though they're both COVID-19 viruses, they behave very differently. So if you get 2 different variants, it can look very different, how you feel, how you recover, et cetera, et cetera. But you can also get the same variant twice. In fact, Erica, with Omicron, we're learning that the risk of reinfection is 5 times as high as it was with Delta. So you're much more likely to get reinfected with Omicron than even any of the other variants. So for those of us that have recovered from Omicron, we need to keep that in mind. And we don't know how long the protection lasts. Our best guess is 2 to 3 months based on the old variants, but there's some data that came out of London recently that says it may be as long as even 5 months with Omicron.
Great information. Okay, let's talk about breakthrough infections. And to our viewers, just to repeat it, that's when you're fully vaccinated, but you can still get COVID. So what does science tell us about these infections and then your body's response?
You know, it feels like such a bummer, guys, when you have the vaccine and then you go ahead and get the infection. But the good news, of course, is, you know, it's a less severe infection. It also boosts your antibody response because your immune system is kind of like your phone. It has some artificial intelligence built into it. So every time it sees that spike protein, whether through the vaccination or through infection, it makes a few more antibodies the next time. So if you're vaccinated and boosted, you've gotten 3 doses, you've seen that spike protein 3 times, then you go and get the infection. Now you've seen it 4 times, so that really augments those neutralizing antibodies and hopefully protects you from yet another infection.
Great.
Can I just ask really quickly, what if we got the Omicron like I did and had 0 symptoms? Does that still mean the same thing?
Well, that's a very interesting question. So initially in the pandemic, we had thought that the degree of antibody response correlates with the symptoms. But now that you're vaccinated, Erica, that relationship no longer holds. In fact, that's the whole point of getting vaccinated, is to make that illness really mild. So I feel comfortable that if we were to check your antibodies, they would be boosted and augmented, even though you had a very mild or no illness at all.
Interesting. I know. Yeah. Okay, so we will share Jeff's results a little bit later because my little timer's still ticking. All right, the results are in. Tori, you ready? Everybody ready?
Oh, here
Jeffrey?
we go. So you might want to explain what C and T means.
Okay, so C means you're negative. C and T means positive.
Right, so I don't have
C means control, right?
And the T is the test.
And if there's any even dim line right here, they said you go get it could be positive. So if there's any line, you have to be careful.
So show yours, you're negative.
Yeah, there's no line. Yeah, I'm negative.
He's negative,
Look at my
folks.
nails, too. They look nice, don't they? I'm a hand model.
You got your nails?
And my wife texts me, tells me I leave dishes around. That's not true, Jordan. I don't.
So if you have a question you want answered by Dr. Kohli, write us on social media, and you can also email info@dailybuslive.com. Thanks, Dr. Kohli.